Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Everybody Eats show. We got a really special guest for you today, Mr. Khari Harper. Man, goose happen, mistakes happen. We were literally just recording, and I forgot to actually press record, so we have to run this back. All right, so Mr. Khari Harper, if you could introduce yourself, who you are, what do you do? Now that I press record so that people can actually hear, right, what you said. So if you can introduce yourself, who you are, what do you do, and we'll get the episode rolling.
Excellent. Yeah. So my name is Kyrie Harper. I own a digital marketing agency. So I help new entrepreneurs getting in the digital marketing space. I help them scale their business. So I work in the real estate niche, and if they bring me a client, then I'm going to do all the back end work. I'm basically a white label service. So they use my company, and we say that we work with X, Y, and Z company. So yeah, we just make it easy for business owners to get started out the gate because I understand what it's like trying to figure out and put all the pieces together and not having anybody who could really help you out on the back end. So I just want to be the change I wanted to see in the world, you know?
For sure. So, for those listening, one, in the first recording, I went over how Kyrie and I we met through Instagram, right? So first, I saw a video of him on the Black Wealth Renaissance page. They had a clip about Kyrie. He was on the Black Wealth Renaissance podcast. Kyrie was talking about systems and processes in his business, and how he sets them up. And a few weeks, about last month or so, Kyrie had reached out to us on the podcast, Instagram, wanted to connect, give out some free game about systems, processes, Facebook ads. That was one of the key things. So that definitely helped us because now we're doing Facebook ads more consistently, right? And definitely like we've
better
seen
numbers on them. Yeah,
exactly, like we've seen the
better
growth so
numbers.
far, and we've seen the numbers on it, and it's been well so far. So I was like, dang. I get Kyrie back on the podcast. Like he gotta talk about how he did it himself and like get some gems out to the people. So that's the background to how we met. So if you could, I guess, just start from the beginning, right? Like obviously your business didn't start in 2 months, it didn't start just right now. So what's the story behind essentially what your business is now? Like what's that story? What was that process like to getting to this position?
Okay. So the short version really is, me growing up in foster care, having a lack of stability, getting adopted, and my family still separating. I always knew, I have a brother. My brother growing up, he went down the opposite path I did. Ended up doing a prison sentence for about 5 years. He was in and out of prison when he was younger. He's a changed man now, thank God. But seeing all that stuff consistently going to just different foster home orphanages, you know, I was moving every year or 2 years, never being able to stay in one school. I was like, I always told myself, when I get older, I don't know what age, but when I'm able to, I'm going to be in control of my entire life. No one's going to tell me what to do. No one's going to tell me how to do it. I don't know what the big break is going to be, but I do know that I'm going to be able to empower my life and never put the people around me in the positions that I've been in, because I will control everything around me, but within that control, I will not abuse it like most people. I will only use this power for good. And that's always been my mindset, even when I had nothing. I was always a leader of the group. I made sure everyone stayed out of trouble. I was the first one to say, hey, let's not go do this. But I was also the first one to say, hey, this is a little bit of a risky investment. Let's give it a shot. But if things didn't go well, I had no problem taking bearing the weight of my decisions. So that's really why I became an entrepreneur. And also, I just saw the way people were living. I'm like, it's like people are not living in mansions off of working, 50, $60,000 a year jobs, 70,000 a year jobs, as all of our parents, especially within the Black community. You tell someone, in the Black community, you're making $70,000 a year, they're like, whoa, you done hit it big. I've made that in the last 2 months. So I couldn't even fathom the idea of me working anywhere for 70 or $100,000 a year and having such standards. It really is pushing me to go even harder. Most people would stop when you make 30,000 a month. No, it's a sickness. You want more because you know you could do more. But Obviously, things didn't start off like that. You guys need to insert that little clip, What's that in all the black movies? I wasn't always this messed up. Let me take you. But yeah. So basically 16, I move out of my parents' house. Me and my moms weren't getting along, and I live with my boy, my boy Vinny, and I lived with him for about 2 years. I'm sleeping on a leather couch all throughout high school. Like, I got no money, no car, no cell phone. Like, I'm down bad. I had 2 pairs of jeans. I'm living with people. They're not my family. They're not my parents. I can't say, hey, can we go school shopping this year? It's like, you got to go get it how you live. So, whatever. I was, I graduated from high school. I was still living with my boy for a little bit of time. I started working these jobs and everything, but I always had that little hustler mentality. I was like DJing at clubs, making a little bit of money here and there, trying to throw parties here and there. And I had no concept that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I can't say I didn't have a concept. I didn't understand what being an entrepreneur was, but I knew that I just need to make some extra bread because, I got to survive. So basically, throughout all that time, man, it's like I'm just working different jobs. I'm getting fired from every single job consistently. Like, I can't show up on time. I don't want to hear nothing. Nobody could tell me nothing. I don't care. I didn't care what their title was. I didn't care if you were the owner. I was like, don't disrespect me. Straight up. I was like, you don't know what I've been through. I don't know what you've been through. So if we're not going to give each other mutual respect, let's just keep it moving. And so I work at a place called Pump It Up. Shout out to Jim. I hate that man. Hopefully one day he hears this interview. He is the worst person I've ever met, but he taught me that's not the type of boss I want to be like when I am one. So I got fired from that, moved back home with my parents for like 4 months, got kicked out. Me and my mom got into it again. Now I'm living on my boy's couch by Rutgers University in New Jersey. And, but at this time, I'm like, my DJing's taking off a little bit. I'm DJing at night. I'm with my best friend. We're throwing parties, making a little bit of that side money, all that good stuff. And me and my boy, we would talk every day. His name is Shandon. It's my right-hand man. He's like, yo, we're going to get to this bag. I don't know how we're going to get to it. Well, he didn't say bag because, back then, 8 years ago, nobody was saying we get into the bag. But we were always talking about it like, hey, we're so close. We're so close. So we always gave each other motivation. Shannon comes from a really good family. His mom works. She has a great job and all that good stuff. But he always held me down no matter what. If I didn't have bread, if I didn't have nothing. So I kind of felt like I owed him. I owed him $2,000 at one point because he used to always give me money and we would keep track. And I was just like, bro, I'll pay you back one day. He's like, I believe it. So fast forward, now I'm starting little side businesses. So let's just get to 2016. I get into real estate. Still broke as dishes. I'm living in an attic with me and my son's mom. Like, I'm talking, that shit got so hot. It got up to like 100 degrees in there. There was nothing. We're paying $800 a month to live in someone's attic. And that's when I really was like, I started looking at myself being like, okay, what do I want out of life? I was around 22 years old, 18 to 21. We'll skip the party phase. So around 21, 22, I'm like, what do I want out of life? I knew I wanted to travel. I knew I wanted to be free. And I knew I didn't want a boss. So I started looking into everything. I opened up a drop shipping store. We all heard about drop shipping and how that goes. So I opened up a drop shipping store. I was doing research on that, YouTube. I was looking at any courses for free I can get. And it was called Import Plugs. And, I made like 4 sales and I was really trying it, but it just wasn't working out. So, whatever. So I go back to I get into real estate now because my boy's like, yo, let's get into real estate, this, that, and the other. So we go to this networking event in Manhattan in 2016. Because I wasn't going to go to no regular stuff. He wanted me to go to something called Fortune Builders, but it wasn't for me. So I was like, yo, I found this event. It's a rooftop party in Manhattan. It's just my type of scene. It's my type of vibe. Let's do that. So we pull up there. And at this time, I'm actually doing landscaping. I'm working in landscaping at that time in 2016. And then, so we get to the rooftop party, no one's trying to talk to us. They're like, hey, what do you do? I was like, I'm a landscaper and my boy sells cars. So everyone was just, and this is in Manhattan. Yeah. They're like, yeah, it's just like, it's one of the, like, it was terrible. So no one wanted to talk to us. I was like, I just told my boys, like, listen, let's just have a couple beers. We'll just chill. So I go buy the beers, we sit down, like the place is crowded, but there's these 2 seats, right? And it's crazy how this happened. This one stuff gets interesting. There's 2 seats. So we take those seats, and there's 3 guys sitting there. Their name is Nick, Doobie, and I forgot what the attorney's name was. And so I lived in Israel for a few years. I moved there for about a couple years. So I speak Hebrew. And so I hear these guys speaking Hebrew. I'm already like, yo, I just hear Hebrew. So I'm just trying to mac in conversation and vibe. So I tap on this dude's shoulder and start speaking to him in Hebrew. And he looks at me like, all right. So he starts hitting me back with Hebrew and stuff. Next thing you know, he hits his boy on the shoulder. It's like, yo, listen to this. He speaks Hebrew. Whatever. We all start vibing and talking. Then the guy that I tapped on the shoulder, his name was Nick. He was like, yo, you guys want me to go buy you some drinks? Like for like the whole table. I was like, yeah, no problem at all. You know, I'm broke his dishes once again. I was like, say no more.
Don't tell me a good time.
So he goes to buy the drinks, and then his attorney says this. He was like, listen, Nick doesn't like many people, but he likes you. If he offers you a job, take it. I was like, all right, word. I don't know what this man does or nothing. All right. So we start talking more. Nick's a real estate developer in Brooklyn. You know, not everybody could be a real estate developer in Brooklyn. You know, let's just call it what it is. And he's good. He owns like 100 units, all that stuff. So we're talking and chilling. He got to get up out of there. He's like, oh, this is what I want you to do. He's like, you want to work in real estate? I was like, I want to try it. He's like, I want you to call my partner, Sean, interview with him. He's going to tell you how everything works. And then I'll show you. Just come work with me. I got you. Because, you know, we told him like, you know, pockets are messed up, this, that, and the other, all that. Cool. We do that. I go meet Sean. Sean's 25 at the time. Dude's a millionaire. Like, you smell the money, you know, Israeli cats, you know? So I'm like, all right, you can smell the money off this guy. I was like, all right, well, listen, if I want to work here, how much is the pay? They're like, it's $10,000 per deal. And I was like, whoa, now that's the type of job I could work. So fast forward, I start working there. I'm the only one in, like, it's me and 4 other people. I'm making cold calls every day trying to get that deal. I didn't care what it took. I was like, yo, I want that 10,000. I was like, 10,000 could change my life right now. So I'm swiping credit cards to get into Brooklyn because there's a $15 toll every time you go in. And, you know, the gas is like $30, like I think like every 2 days or something for me. I was like, I don't care. I'll go negative. You know, me and my boy used to split $5 sandwiches from the bodega, and that was our meal all day. So whatever, I'm in there, I'm cold calling, I'm standing next to Sean, anything, and they took a liking to me. So they gave me a car, like a company car, all that good stuff. They're like, yo, we want you here, just come here. I closed my first deal. I got like $2,000 off of it because, you know, I had to borrow money and I had to pay them back and everything. So it's like 2 G's, cool. That's when I knew this was real. I was like, this is real. No matter, yes, it was a lot of hard work, but I know that there's potential here. You know, once again, Sean being my mentor, he's 25, making over $1 million, and he came from Israel, literally a foreign country, like 3 years ago at that time. So I just keep working. I close a couple more deals, but after a while, things get difficult. I'm just like, listen, I can't work here anymore. I'm not making enough. You know, I closed the final deal before I walked away. I made like $6,000. So I was like, listen, that could hold me over for a little bit. So 2017 rolls around. It's the summer of 2017. And then I go and I start doing the same thing in New Jersey, but for myself. And I just start wholesaling. From there, I was like really good. Because if I could close a deal in New York, I was like, yo, I'm definitely going to stun on them in Jersey. Easy. Because I was going up against the best of the best in Brooklyn. Because, you know, that's when the market was booming. That's when that whole shift really hit. So I was doing it in Jersey. I started linking up with people, all that good stuff. 2018 rolls around. I got really good. Started making $30,000 checks. And I just found out I was having a son born basically around like January. I made $5,000, 10 grand here, you know, 30 grand there. Then I had a $60,000 month. And I was just like, yo, this is real. This is 2018. But of course, when you start getting money and you have no experience, no recollection of how to, you know, you don't know how to save it, anything, I blew it all. And I don't know how. My friends still ask me to this day, how did you spend that much money? I was like, I don't know. You know, I paid my best friend back. I gave him the first deal I ever got. That was a big deal. I gave him 2. I was like, here's the 2 G's I owe you, bro. And then I paid for his honeymoon. I mean, I think it was his pre-honeymoon, whatever the hell it was. Trip to Puerto Rico for him and his woman. And after that, I just kept spending and spending and spending. Got the apartment, got everything, gained like 100 pounds. You know, I was looking good. Got a car, all that. I still got that same car that I bought in 2016. I'll never let it go. I love that car. And basically, yeah. So 2019 rolls around. You know, I'm having my son. I'm finding out I'm having a son and all that good stuff. And I have no money. Deals done dried up. I don't know. No one wants to do deals. It's winter. You know, Jersey market's getting hot. I can't even touch any wholesale deals. So I go work. Luckily, all the real estate connections I made, I was able to get a job at something called like a hard money brokerage. They provide money to investors. So I was basically a loan officer for investors for a little bit. I worked there for 30 days, right? They were paying me $31,000 a year. I was like, listen, I'll take it. And this is in 2018, going into 2019. All right. I'm sorry, this is 2018, beginning of 2018. And they offered me 30 something thousand dollars a year. I worked there for 30 days. And I was like, yo, I quit. I had a son. I had to move back at home with my mom's because I had no money. Me, my son, and my son's mom, we were sleeping on a twin size mattress, all three of us. And I was going home every day hating myself. I was like, what did I do? I put my family in this position. Nobody else. I did this. I blew all that money. I didn't care about saving. I was the one that let the money change me. So I was like, no problem. I restarted. I quit. I got back into wholesaling. I took a different strategy, started making some money again. Linked up with this other dude, made a little bit more. I saved a little bit more this time. Still messed my pockets up though. So at that point, told the missus, I was like, listen, take Jackson. You guys go move in with your parents. I'm going to Colombia. So this is like in 2019 now. I was like, yo, I'm off to Colombia. Straight up.
Or
What happened?
Did you speak Spanish at that point? Or you just like, I'm just going.
I ran away for 50 mil like Dave Chappelle. That was it. So I go to Colombia. I'm like, yo, I see all these young cats, right? This is summer 2019 and all that good stuff. We're fast forwarding a little bit. Summer 2019, I see all these young cats. I'm like, yo, how are you guys living here? Because I'm just here on vacay for 3 months. Y'all been here for 2 years. They're like, oh, we run online stores. We run Facebook ads, e-com and Facebook ads. I was like, all right. This is like the 50-some hundred time I heard about Facebook ads. What is going on here? So basically I had 2 months left in Colombia, right? I was like, yo, I'm not partying. I'm not doing nothing. Monday through Friday, I'm locked in learning about Facebook ads. So I had like a $5,000 credit card. And that was like all my spending money. I just swiped it on courses. So I spent like $2,000-$3,000 on courses, learned stuff, started like doing logos. So when I was doing logos in Colombia, I was just outsourcing it to someone. I would charge 100, pay some dude in Pakistan $25. And that's how I was like really maintaining, eating, and surviving out there. And Colombia is really cheap, so it was fine. And you know, I used the Airbnb, so everything was paid for. The space was paid for. Basically I come back and and then I meet this kid. His name is Ravi. At that time, he was making like $40,000 a month running Facebook ads for realtors. I was like, what? What? People don't even make that a year, and you're doing that a month. He's same age as me. He's 26 now. He dropped out of law school, all that stuff. You know, he still had his grind. So I spoke to him. He was like, yo, this is what I do. But he wanted to like charge me like $1,000 for a consultation and all that. I was like, I can't do it again. So I just started grinding. I get back to Jersey, right? Columbia trip's finally over, but I now have a clear mind. Because me, when I'm alone, that's when I like really, that's when things start clicking for me. So go back to Jersey. Now I'm living in a 1-bedroom apartment with 5 other people, including my son. I'm trying to figure stuff out. I was like, okay, I know how to run Facebook ads for realtors. Let me go reactivate my real estate license and do real estate. And I did, you know. So when I got back, I was able to run ads and I got like 3 clients out the gate. Plus my friends are investors. So they're like, yo, you could sell this house. I got this one coming up. So 2 of my investor friends gave me a listing. And then I had 1 listing from Facebook ads. So I was all right. I was like, okay, so I have a little bit of pocket change to survive for like 2-3 months right now. And then I was like, yeah, the real estate thing isn't for me. And then like December, holidays, things slow down. It's a slow season in real estate. So now we're in December of 2019. So January 2020 comes around. The season's starting to come back, but I'm out of money. I'm dead broke again. January 2020, nothing. And I was like, listen, I just got to go to the digital marketing stuff because I don't want to show houses anymore. It was cold as hell. These clients are flaking on me and not buying anything, or there's 10 million other things happening. So I go all in on my marketing agency. And, since I did a little bit of deals and I know people in real estate, I was like, yo, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing Facebook ads for realtors. I'll work for free. So January, I was working for free. I was like, yo, free. I was going on Fiverr.com, setting up ads for $50, anything to get a proof of concept. Because I understood I needed that first, then I could charge more. Then from there, on Facebook, I make a lot of noise on Facebook. So like I'm lit there. So I just started working, agencies are like, yo, how are you doing this? How are you getting such great results? Realtors like, how are you getting such great results? And this guy, I don't want to say his name because I don't talk to him no more, but he was like, yo, why don't you come work with me as a salesman? And this is probably around that February, early February time or something, like January, end February, early whatever. But we start working together. He shows me his system. He's like, yeah, I'm doing white label. So he's like, basically, I just run all the ads for digital marketing agencies. I do all the fulfillment, all the back end work. I was like, word. So we start working together, and there's a miscommunication on his end, not mine. He gets mad. He's like, yo, I don't need you. I can do all this by myself, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yo, get out of here. He's like, I don't care. And I was just like, what? I was like, yo, you bipolar, dog. Like, what happened? So I was like, you know what? But the problem with this situation, which is what changed the whole entire narrative. Me and him having that argument, and I was a salesperson on this team. I already had people who were ready to work with me, like off the strength of my word. And then I let them know what happened. They're like, yo, listen, Khari, we came on because we want to work with you. If you can handle the fulfillment for our realtor clients, we will give you the money. I was like, listen, I'll do it for $350. So I had 3 clients for $300. So I had basically a total of like $1,100 to my name. And I took that $1,100 because they stuck with me. I bought all the systems that I needed. I hired a virtual assistant because I knew I was going to need help. I was doing the cold calling because we also offer like calling. We call the leads as well. From 9 to 12, I was doing the calling myself to all the client leads just to deliver. And yeah, we started getting results. We lost a couple clients though, of course. It was a roller coaster for the first 2 months. February, end of February, we're getting a little bit better. March, we're starting to bubble up a little bit. This is March 2020, and this dude named Brett's like my mentor now. Like this is my guy. I will do anything for Brett. He's like, he's already making 6 figures a month. He's killing it. He's like, Khari, I'm really hearing about all the results you're getting, this, that, and the other. Why don't we just get on a call? He's like, we bounce some ideas off of each other. I'm like, say no more. So we start bouncing ideas off of each other and all that good stuff. And he was like, yo, honestly, Khari, I've never seen someone with so much determination as you, especially where you come from. He's like, this is what I'm going to do. He's like, I'm going to give you one client. All right. If you do well with this one client, I promise I'll give you a video testimonial about how great your services are. And once again, Brett is that dude in this industry. You get the blessings from him. You green light. So we did it. This time I hired my friend. My friend's on board now. My best friend, Shandon. I was like, yo, Shandon, I could pay you $3 an hour. But I promise it's going to be worth it in the long term. He was like, yo, I might go pump gas before I take $3 an hour. And, Shannon hits me a couple days later. He's like, honestly, you ain't never let me down since. He was like, I've never seen you so passionate about something. He's like, I'll take $3 an hour. So my boy Shannon joins. I'm like, yo, Shannon, you handle clients. I'm going to handle back-end ads and all this other stuff. Carmen, you handle responding to the leads and converting them, getting like their search criteria and all that. So that was the game plan. That's what we were doing. And then, so finally, Brett, this is probably like around like mid-March or April. Brett's like, hey, I got that client for you. You ready? So Brett gives me the client. Results are decent, but he loves our client service because we get on calls with clients every week. We see how we can help them, what we can do better. And he's hearing all these great things from his clients. His client name was Gregory. And Brett was like, yo, honestly, he's like, yo, Gregory's really happy with everything you guys are doing. So basically, now let's move to April. April comes around. He gives me that video testimonial. And it took a little bit longer because he shaved too much of his beard. So you know how that goes. Most of us with beards are ugly underneath. So
wait. play.
So he made that video testimonial, and I kid you not, because once again, he's a digital marketing agency. I'm working with digital marketing agencies to do the fulfillment for their stuff. Digital marketing agency started hitting me up like, yo, I just saw that video testimonial. Can you do mine? Can you do mine? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yo, I got you. I got you. So now it's like April, early May, whatever it may be. And that's the hottest season in real estate. That's the spring, summer market. So everyone's buying digital marketing, and COVID happened. So it's like people don't even need to sell nothing. They know they need ads.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, it's like I got like 5-10 clients. I'm like, oh, shoot, I just made like $4,000 this week. So I was like, yo, Shannon, how about I promote you to sales and you start handling all the agencies? You know, so Shannon starts handling the agencies. People love Shannon. Shannon has more patience than I do. I hate people. And people are loving it, though. They're loving the results, everything. So April rolls around. We got our thing. We got our systems rolling and all that other stuff. It's not great. It's not perfect, but it works. It's efficient, and it's better than what everyone else is doing. Come May, I was like, all right, I sat back. I made all the adjustments I needed to make. Now we're making money. I'm talking first $15,000 a month. We all celebrated. Like, yo, we finally passed it. And once again, we're charging people like $400. So that's a lot of clients. And then basically I upped my prices. I was like, all right, the price is now $997 a month. People weren't even mad at that. They're like, no problem. So, you know, we're still doing our thing. June comes around. Shannon's like, yo, I'm going to Mexico. He's making money. You know, he's making every sale. You know, every client that comes in from an agency, I gave him 150 plus a reoccurring, because that's that off strength of him just doing that thing for me, that favor. So Shannon moves to Mexico and all that other stuff. Shannon's still closing deals, this, that, and the other. And now it's like June. We started getting popping. Now we're hitting 20,000. July, we're hitting 25. August, $39,000. Once again, this is 2020 during the pandemic. You know, your boy was just sleeping in the one bedroom. I moved to Texas. I forgot to tell you, in May, I moved to Texas. End of May, I moved to Texas. Moved my whole family out, got a little 2-bedroom, did my Texas thing. And that's where I'm at now. But so yeah, I go to Mexico once again, ran away for 50 mil like Dave Chappelle. You know, I was like, that's what I do. I was like, I get a little bit of money and I dip. So
The reset button.
And that's what it is, though. I was like, me and the missus going through some things, all that. I was like, yeah, let me get away. You go back. Let's just breathe. And in August, we were making some money. I was being stupid again. I fell back into those old habits. I didn't mess up my money, though. I had a savings this time because I knew the result, and I already had a new lease, and I moved my family across the country from Jersey to Texas. I was like, I'm not doing that again. Next thing you know, whatever, I have to fire my boy in October because business is slow, and it's just what happens. You know, I was like, yo, I got to let you go for 2 months. He's working with me now again. So I let him go. You know, I was still maintaining. I went from 9 staff to about 2, and now we have 3. And my boy, but he works on commission now, so he does whatever he wants. You know, off the strength, he's always going to be good. And but once again, he's a hard worker, so I don't need to watch him. And then yeah, that was really it. That's just really what we did. So now we built it. You know, January came around of 2021. We're back at it, $30,000 a month, like we never left. Now I'm trying to get to 100,000. You know, I learned in October was wake up call, started saving my bread again. You know, I got a nice savings now, thank God. IRS don't come for that. Don't send that letter yet. And and then yeah, man. So that's the backstory.
So my biggest question through everything you went through is like literally roller coaster is the best way to describe it. What kept your head up through the storm the entire time? Like it can't be like I see it as something not normal because you know you kept going and going and going and I just feel like a lot of people would have dropped off, you know, by the 4th or 5th up and down. So like what kept you really just head down and running?
Well, a couple things. One, my dad was always like, when my adopted dad, he always said, you know, stay patient, stay consistent. If you're doing right, it's going to work out. And then 2018 happened. Well, 2017, December 15th, my son was born. Every day I had to look at my son in his eyes. Every day. And it was up to me to see, like, what kind of life am I going to provide? Am I going to repeat the cycle or not? And that was it. So, and no one wants to work for somebody. Like once you make, X amount of dollars in real estate, even though I blew all that money, you realize the possibilities. How can you ever go back? It was just impossible for me at that point. It wasn't even an option to go back, and it still isn't. I tell people all the time, I'll die before I go back to work a 9 to 5, straight up.
That first, it really sounded like, even though you only got 2 G's out of it, that first deal, through everything you mentioned that you went through, you're part of, like, I felt proud for you, to be honest. So like, I felt that that accomplishing feeling, towards the end. So I definitely get it. You'd rather not log on, work, X amount of hours for someone, get whatever BS might come with whatever comes with it. But instead, you're choosing you're making your way. So I respect that. I get it.
Absolutely. You take the L's up front, you get the W later. That's all it is.
Nah, bro, that reminds me of we did an episode with Randy from Tally and Twine, and he said a mind once stretched can't ever go back. And he runs luxury watches and like accessories, and he was saying like, yeah, like after he started making X amount of sales and saw like the potential, he's like, I can never go back. You know what I'm saying? Like once you taste it a little bit, it's like, even it may not happen right away. And that's why I admired, because it wasn't like you hit 2 G's and that became like your job, and and then you just start rolling from there, right? There was still like ups and downs after that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, even though it took some time to get where you are now, you still had that, in the back of your mind, in front of your mind, like you still had that, like, yo, this is what I want. This is regardless how long it's gonna take, I'm gonna still keep going for it.
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's how everyone needs to be. But people need to understand that the way I did it is not normal. I was able to endure the pain because my entire childhood was pain. Pain is all I know. It's all I'm accustomed to. So when my back's against the wall, I'm like, yo, this is just regular. This is I'm just back in survival mode. And that's nothing to me. I've survived through the worst of the worst conditions. So I was like, shoot, I'm like, if the United States foster care system can't break me, there ain't nothing you could put at me that's going to fucking tear me. You may stop me for a little bit, but yeah, man. So that's just how I live. I ain't scared of nothing. Straight up.
Appreciate that. Nah, definitely. That's a story of resilience. Honestly, that's the first thing that comes to my head. Story of resilience. So definitely appreciate that. I got a question. So you're saying the ads that you make, I'm a little confused. So it's digital marketing for real estate agents, or you like what exactly are the ads that you're running for?
Yeah, so it's for digital. It's for real estate agents. So that's the whole back end. Yeah. So I do everything real estate, except I don't work directly with the realtor clients. I work with digital marketing agencies as my clients. Does that make sense?
A little bit.
So it's like drop shipping.
Okay.
So in reality, people buy stuff from like AliExpress and stuff like that. They're not the actual company.
Yeah.
So consider me AliExpress for the digital marketing agency for realtors. I mean, for in the digital marketing space world, agencies use my product and service and say it's theirs.
Got it. Okay. So XYZ realtor wants to sell a crib, they'll go to you to help put the ad out that they're buying or selling or something like that?
No. So basically, if they want to generate more buyer or seller clients, like people just interested in buying and selling, then I would put the ad out to attract those people looking to buy or sell.
Okay. Got it. All right.
No, it's just regular stuff. I always say, if you overthink it, you're going to confuse yourself. But yeah, man, just once again, I just handle the fulfillment though. I basically being a fulfillment company means you don't handle the sales.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Everyone else is out selling, and then I do the back end work.
Got it. How was wholesaling for you? You said it was good for a little bit in Jersey, and after a while, not so much. But like, I don't know. My cousin does wholesaling in Florida. Actually just hit up some dude. You know Maxwell?
Yeah, me and that man beefing right now.
Really? Damn.
I don't talk about Max. Leave Max alone.
Really? Damn. Okay. But I guess like one of his boys, I just reached out to him to try and get him on the podcast. But just in general, like wholesaling, how was that for you?
I mean, it's good. It's just Jersey's an oversaturated market. It's expensive. People from New York are moving there because it's cheaper. Just it was a good experience because the way I did it was a little bit different. I wasn't once again. I was never calling like homeowners and stuff like that. I was always going to like the plug. So I would go like to the auction. Investors would buy houses. I was like, hey, can I wholesale this crib for you? Give me 48 hours. I can get under contract. They're like, yeah. And then eventually that reputation got around. So like wholesalers just started calling me, or investors started calling me that bought houses at the auction. They're like, yo, can you wholesale this property for me? So I always took the work where once, just like my marketing agency, I don't want to have to do the outreach and all that. Give me the product and I'm gonna move it for you.
Yeah. Sure.
So,
and you don't do that still in Texas or anything? Like the market is it's just because you're just busy doing your own thing, or
it just comes to a point where it's like you guys are gonna see. I don't know what financial situation. I'm sure you guys work 9 to 5s, right?
Yeah.
We're on the career path and all that good stuff. What you're gonna see when you do start making money, if that is your goal to start making 20, 30, 40, 50,000 a month, is if you can make $10,000 a month consistently in your business, you can make 100,000 a month and you can make $1 million a month. So why would you put any attention to anything else? And that's just the way I look at it. There are times where I'm like, yo, let me just get back into wholesaling. I know how to run the ads. I know how to do this. I have the call center. I have the staff. But when I start getting into that, it's a panic mode. It's like, everyone says multiple streams of income. But I was like, I shouldn't. That's active income that I have to do. I don't want to work for my money. I want to just take the money I make and just keep investing it somewhere so it grows.
Yeah.
So one main business, and then the rest is passive income. I'm investing in crypto, stocks, all that.
Okay. That's lit.
Got it. Makes sense.
All
right. All right. When you're ready for that quote of the day, we'll hop into. All right. So segment 2, quote of the day. Eden will say a quote. Try and guess who said it. He'll give us some tips, and then we'll kind of just say our interpretation of it. So, and you're set.
All right. Well, tip number 1, you guys aren't gonna get whoever said this or where it's from, but the quote is, I hope I didn't say it, but to dwell in the past is to lose one's path. To dwell in the past is to lose one's path. So it's not really, I mean, nobody really said it, but I think I was watching something. I forgot where, I didn't put it down, but that was a quote they said. So to dwell in the past is to lose one's path. And I think this is really applicable, especially in your case, Khari. But I mean, you hear people say always like kind of pick your head up when you get knocked down or cheer up. And, a lot of stuff that's easier said than done, but there's still truth to it. If you keep thinking about what happened yesterday or today or actions or decisions that led you to an unfortunate situation where you're currently in, it gets hard to see the whole picture and move forward. And even if you're walking down a path, I was watching TV show, they talked about ignorant people and whatnot. If you're looking down at the ground, that was the comparison. They said, they're walking with their nose to the ground. They can't see the world around them changing. I kind of feel that applies to everything else, in the sense of it applies to this quote in the sense of if you're looking down, you have such a narrow perspective on what you're going through, and you're always like, woe is me, or just not doing, just not making anything positive of the situation. You're not going to get anywhere, especially if you're, even if it's something positive, you could make it big. But if you're always talking about that one, big close you made, or that one real good moment you had, or your peak, they call it, it's kind of like, it's such a double-edged sword, because, usually for the most part, what happens at a peak, you usually come down. So.
No, for real, that's facts. Kind of, I guess like a simpler way, I heard was like, yeah, you can't you can't move forward if you keep looking back. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much simple thing. And someone also made an analogy of like when you're driving, there's a reason when you're driving, you look at like the front mirror. You don't drive forward looking at the rear view mirror. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not gonna get anywhere. You're gonna crash eventually. Like if you just keep on looking what happens in the back. But I like the point you made when you said even if you're looking back at something positive that you did, you know what I'm saying? Because yeah, you might have a peak or you might have a good moment in the past. But if you keep on dwelling on like, oh, the time I did this, the time I did that, and it happened well, like you still have to eventually, you have to keep going forward. You know what I'm saying? So even if it is something positive that you're reflecting on, you still have to keep your head up straight and, you know, worry about what's in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Like worry about what's exactly in front of you. So it's not always easy because sometimes like you look in your past and you be like, oh, I made this mistake once. Maybe you start getting some self-doubt. Sometimes you start to question yourself or your abilities or anything like that. But you know, it's about just keeping your head straight and really focusing like, all right, that issue was a problem yesterday, that was a problem last week, that was a problem last year, but like what am I dealing with right now at this moment? And making sure that you're executing on that. And that's definitely like what's the most important.
100%. Do I analyze this one as well?
If you have anything to speak on,
Can you say the quote one more time?
To dwell in the past is to lose one's path.
Yeah, so it is facts, you know. It's dwelling in the past. Well, what I think it is the obvious meaning is, you know, you get stuck in the past, that's where you're gonna live. But if we want to really break this down to a deeper level, people are comfortable with the past because it's something that they're familiar with, because it has already occurred and they know what the outcome is going to be. As I said before, I'm already used to pain. So what is pain to me moving forward? That's why we stick to the toxic relationships, the abusive relationships, the 9 to 5, because we're used to, from the beginning, when we're in school, what are we told? You're not going to like everybody you work with, right? So that's what we're used to. It's like, oh, if this person is, you know, if this person's an ass, I have to deal with it because all my life in the past, I was told this is what's going to happen. So when you live in that past, it really does create your future, you know, but the only way to create a real future is to live in the present because it's going to dictate what happens tomorrow, next year, 10 years, 50 years from now. So stay away from the past, you know, always remember it, but don't let it come back to life because if it's there for a reason.
Yes, sir.
That's a fact. That is a fact. So before we move on, Edom, could you say that quote one last time and then we'll move on to our last segment?
So the quote is, to dwell in the past is to lose one's path.
All right.
Let's pretend I said it.
We'll give him credit for that. All right. So on this final segment, let's talk about Facebook ads, right? So I'm sure some people have heard of them. Some people may not have heard of them, right? So generally when people think of advertisements, right, you think the old-fashioned way, billboards, flyers, whatever, right? But now we're in a digital age. Things don't move like that anymore, right? When you're looking for an ad, more likely than not, you're finding it on your computer, right? You're on a website, you go on Facebook, and then you probably see, you know, that same website. You was on Macy's looking for shoes.
You were thinking about something, right? And they got you with the Nordstrom deal or exactly, Foot Locker, right? Or something.
You're on Macy's looking for shoes. You're on Instagram. You probably see an ad over there on Instagram, right, for Macy's shoe. Probably that same exact shoe, right? You know, that's how ads are run. So for people starting off in business, either looking to start a business, they already have one, right? If you could just kind of break down, like you mentioned how Facebook ads help you, if you could kind of break down like the importance of Facebook ads and how that could really help scale someone, and maybe some, like, I know you gave me some game on some tactics to use. So if you could give some audience some game on how they can use Facebook ads to help their businesses.
All right. This is the exciting part that everybody wants to always hear about. So the question I'm going to ask the listeners is this: do you want to get rich? And you have to, when you give the answer, just say it out loud. So if you really want to like make a massive amount of income quickly, listen, even if you have a bad product, you can still make a lot of money as long as you're running ads, which is really messed up, but that's what a lot of people do. So Facebook ads, the reason why any social media platform is free is because of the ads. And we basically We basically sell our data and our information to these companies, and they're like, hey, we'll give you this in exchange for that, not knowing that the data we sold is way more valuable than that social media platform. So Facebook ads are like this. You have a product or a service. Let's take the podcast, for example. You guys have a podcast. You want more people to listen to it. You're not going to grow organically because that's just not how the Instagram algorithm works. No matter what tips and tricks we use, Instagram algorithm, which is also Instagram is owned by Facebook, it's going to show a very minuscule amount of people. So you can run ads, and you run those ads on Facebook. Don't run them on Instagram. Always go on Facebook. So you run the ads through Facebook. Now you're able to target the entire United States of America for $10 a day. And the reason why I say $10 a day is because video views are the cheapest form of advertising on Facebook that you can do. I spend $10 a day on videos. I think I get like 1,000 views or 2,000 views a day or something now. And that's just with $10 a day. That's $300 a month, ladies and gentlemen. Unless it's February, then it's 280. So you want to use video views. And now what happens when you are running an advertisement where you have videos playing? So let's just say you guys take all your clips of your videos. And now you're saying, hey, which clip is the highest performing clip? And let's just say it happened to be mine. All right. And you guys and everyone's watching this entire video, the entire clip you post, the entire 90 seconds you post. You're going to do what? You're going to say, yo, forget all these other videos we have running. Let's just put all the money and drive traffic through this one video to our podcast. So Facebook ads allows you to create a funnel. It allows you to get the exposure, and it allows you to create the funnel to get traffic and viewers, listeners, buyers, whatever the end goal is. And people need to begin using advertisements because they have to understand advertisement is for two things that you only want to focus on: lead generation or brand building. As you guys are being podcast hosts, you want to focus on brand building. More viewers, more listeners, sponsorships, but you have to understand what is your funnel. You can't just run ads to run ads. Just like how you can't just be like, all right, I'm running ads because we want to get to 5,000 listeners or 10,000 listeners or 20,000 listeners a month, right? That makes no sense. That's not a real plan. The plan that we need to be is, okay, once we get to 10,000 listeners a month, where are we going to funnel those 10,000 listeners to? What are we going to sell them? What are we going to give them? Are we going to do a webinar? Are we going to create this? Are we going to create that? You know, I speak with Black Wealth Renaissance all the time. Like, those are my boys. We all live next to each other. And this is the same advice that I give them. I'm like, where's the money? And it's such a thing that people hate talking about because people don't want to be sold or whatever it may be. But it's like, you can't run a podcast forever and make no money. You can't run a business of any sort and make no money. There has to be a value to your listener. And I mean a dollar value, your customer value or your listener value. It's the same thing with streaming. When you run streams, the artist gets whatever, 0.1 cent per listener. So now you have to figure out what your funnel is, and that's what the advertisement's going to do. So first, when you're running a Facebook ad, say, hey, listen, we're going to show this 30-second clip of Khari talking about this. But what we want people to do is click the link so they can go to our YouTube video. Once they go to our YouTube video, now there's something under there that says sign up for our webinar. Once they join the webinar and they pay $50 for a webinar, and we now collected their information as well, now we're going to begin retargeting them with other stuff. You know, courses, consultations, anything. That's the purpose of a Facebook ad. See, people say Facebook ads don't work. It's not because the ads don't work. They don't have a system behind it. If you get in your car and start driving with no destination, what's going to happen? You're just going to run out of gas, right? And have no idea where you're going. So you have to look at that when you're running ads. If there's no actual purpose behind the ad or plan to generate revenue or a destination for this ad, there's no point in running it. And that's what brings you into the systems of a business and systematizing your business. So That was a breakdown on ads. You don't want to hear about the boring back end stuff.
Spat a lot of truth with that, you know, the destination and like just, you know, not throwing it up just to throw it up, because I feel like Instagram is kind of compared to Facebook ads. I really feel like Instagram ads are kind of now like not as effective as I think you said it offline, but you'd rather do it on Facebook than on Instagram. So I mean, I personally don't get why. I'm not.
So let's break it down for you then.
So,
yeah, could you let them?
Yeah,
I'll make it simple.
Right? You're like, oh, I'm on Instagram more. Like, why should I go on Facebook? No one's on Facebook anymore. For people who say that.
Like, for people who say that, they're like, for you guys. You know?
Oh, there's someone else in my question. So guys,
no, yeah, it's a common thing that we all do. I actually started running ads on Instagram. Like when I first started this thing, I thought Instagram ads was the wave. So let's break that down in the simplest form possible. Facebook owns Instagram. When you run ads on Facebook, you will not only be able to show your ads on Facebook, there's an option to show your ad on Instagram. You can get more detailed targeting. It's going to show you exactly who's engaging and interacting with what. It's called KPIs, key performance indicators. So why does this work better? Instagram, you can't do that. What does it give you? Age, location, and a couple other things, and a couple call to actions.
Yeah, like how many people interacted with said ad or post.
Exactly, which is good. But that is what I call an engagement ad. So if you guys just want engagement, likes and stuff on your post, or anybody for that matter, for any business, then you would run a Instagram ad. But if you want, well, see, once again, though, Instagram is like getting in the car with nowhere to go. It's being all dressed up with nowhere to go. That's what Instagram ads are. Facebook ads is you got the tux on, you know you're going to the wedding. And then after the wedding, you know you're gonna go to the after party. And it's a structure. All right. It takes a little bit more time to learn, yes. And that's why people like Instagram, because it's very simple. It's like 4 steps, right? Facebook, you have the campaign, you have the campaign objective, then you have to create the ad set, which is all the detailed targeting and location. Then you have to create the ad. So you got to make sure the text is right, the image is right, the video is right, the ad copy is right, which is the little ad text above it, the call to action is right, and then you have to watch and monitor what's going on. But I would rather have the information or the data than not have the data. So if you run 5 ads and say you spent $300 on all 5 of those ads that month and none of them hit, you now know that none of them worked and you'll never run those again. So you just paid $300 to learn a lesson of what didn't work. But then when you have that one ad on Facebook that hit, that got you guys 10,000 viewers, that basically went, let's just say it went viral on Facebook because people could share those videos. Now you got that, and then you push them to a funnel where they could sign up for a webinar. Because you guys do a lot of educational stuff and all that good stuff. Let's just make it simple. A tax webinar for new entrepreneurs on how to set up your taxes correctly, LLCs and all that good stuff. Now you could, from Facebook will tell you saying, hey, listen, you had out of the 1,000 viewers, 100 people also signed up for that webinar. You can't do that with Instagram. They're not going to let you know what's going on, who's clicking where.
Yeah.
So when you have those numbers, now you understand, like, okay, so basically every 1,000 views I get, at least 100 people are going to sign up for the webinar, which is not realistic numbers at all. If it were, we would all be like millionaires right now. But 10's a realistic number. Or actually, no, out of 1,000, 1's a realistic number. But now you can start understanding the ROI. So you're like, okay, it cost for that one webinar sign up, it cost me $100. So now it costs you $100 per webinar sign up based off the ads you're running, because that's what it shows. So now you're like, okay, and you're charging $200 for the webinar. So now you made $100 profit. So now you just start scaling this. Like, hey, let's put more money. Let's see what happens. If we put $600 in a month, maybe we'll get 2 signups, and now we done made, an additional $300 or whatever it may be, or an additional $100. Now out of 600, we made $200 now. So it's stuff like that. And so it's really just, it just helps you track your ROI. And it seems complicated in the beginning, and I always try, it's hard to break this down into a simple form. But if you're not running advertising and you don't, and I don't care how lit you are on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, if you don't know your numbers and you don't know where your money is coming from, you do not have a business, you have a hobby. I know where my money comes from every single day, which is why when I talk numbers like I want to make $100,000 a month, it's just, Khari, how much are we going to spend in ads now? How many people do we need to sign up for the webinar? Once they sign up for the webinar, how many people do now they need to sign up for the course? How many people sign up for the course, who's going to join the mentorship group? So out of 100, 20 sign up for the webinar, 5 sign up for the course, 1 signs up out of that 5, 1 signs up for the mentorship group. So now I know it cost me $600 to acquire 1 new member in my mentorship group. And now running ads makes sense.
Like you said, it comes down to getting the data, right? When you, like you said, when you're doing on Instagram, I definitely see what you mean, because now we've done it on both, right? And just seeing the difference between both, like Instagram, like you said, it's really good for like engagement, right? Just to make the post look good, right? To get eyes on the post and things like that. But even with Instagram algorithm, we made a post, simple likes and views and stuff like that doesn't even really help with engagement anymore on Instagram. They even stopped that. So we're now saving the video is now how you get the most engagement. So even likes and comments and stuff don't even matter.
That's so hard, because like my personal beef about that, especially starting off on Kilty, running the Instagram like a madman, is like it's already hard enough to get likes and comments and stuff. And if your post has been up for 3 days and you have 27 likes, damn, I know 100 people did not send that to their friends, or no, not people, like not too many people saved it. So I think that whole algorithm is like, it blows mine, because you had more of a fighting chance with the likes and everything. Instagram already changed how the timeline is set up, so it's not chronological order. It's whatever gets the most interaction, and then on top of that, the saving. Like I don't like saving is something I don't do unless it's like food or an exercise. That's the only time I'm going to say something to look at, or it's like some real useful information. But other than that, it's like and we can be honest here. I'm not going and saving everyone's small business post or sending it. The most I'll do is probably send it to my story or send it to one person, but that's definitely not with every post. So I think honestly the new this helps our viewers a lot, but the new algorithm for Instagram is dog crap. But I had a question when you mentioned on when you're setting up a Facebook ad, you can put it on Instagram. Is that free, or is that like I know Instagram has the same thing? So is it free? It's not part of the additional charge?
Yeah, no, because once again, Facebook owns Instagram, so they want to utilize as many cross promotion platforms as possible. So if you realize that every 3 clicks on your story, it's an ad.
Yeah.
So majority of those ads are coming from Facebook directly.
So would you say like starting the ad? Well, you did, but starting the ad on Facebook, you just from my understanding, it allows it just allows for a more broader, not only like interaction on your end, but a broader scope in terms of Facebook and Instagram. Would you say, or
more analytics?
There we go. That's the word.
So for sure, and that's what everyone needs. And when you go into running ads, just go in with the mindset, hey, I'm going to lose money until I figure out what works, but it's okay. Because this is why businesses fail. And I found that out myself as well, which is why I failed in many businesses. I didn't know my numbers. I didn't want to pay for advertising. I probably could have been the best wholesaler. So the difference between advertising and organic is this. Where do you guys live?
Virginia, yeah.
Virginia? All right, very well. So let's say we're all in Virginia right now, and we need to get to California. and you guys drive there and I fly there, who's going to get there first? Exactly. So that's the difference between organic and paid. Organic is like driving there, maybe even walking, especially with these new algorithms. Paid is you're flying there.
For sure. So,
yeah.
One of the before we wrap it up, one of the key things you mentioned was KPIs, right? It's funny because I hear that all the time at work, and I never really I understood what they meant, but it never clicked until really utilizing it for my own business and after starting to use Facebook ads more consistently, right? So if you could just briefly I guess kind of go over again, right? Key performance indicators, like what can or how can business owners use that to scale their business and use that to target clients, whatever they're looking to get.
So with KPIs, there's a couple ways to track it. It all depends on what you want to track. So let's just say we want to track leads. And when I say lead, how many people submitted a form, name, number, and email. Or let's just keep it simple, name, number, and email.
Yeah.
So what you're going to do is say you have set a $20 a day budget. And at the end of the day, you track that KPI. So in that $20 a day budget on Facebook ads, you've generated 4 leads. So now your cost per lead is $5. So it costs you $5 to generate 1 lead, hence the $20 a day budget. So now that you have generated 5 leads, let's say the end goal for that lead is to sell them water. So out of those 5 leads, you sold 1 person water that day. So now the KPI is $20 a day. You generated 5 leads. That cost $4 per lead. And now you only made 1 sale. And let's just say that sale was for $20. So that $120 sale, it basically cost you $20 to acquire a client. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's just a KPI in reality is a funnel. It all starts at the top. You got a bunch of stuff at the top. And then as they go further down the funnel, then you start seeing hey, numbers are getting lower, lower, and lower. And by the time you get to the end of the funnel is who gave me money or my end result.
Definitely. So just to wrap it up, I guess this is also a thank you, right? So we had a call back in January. And at the time I was saying we've kind of done some Facebook, we've kind of done some Instagram, it's not really too consistent. After you kind of broke down everything, right? After you kind of broke down the importance, the testing, the A/B test, right? Of all right, we're going to test this type of ad versus this type of ad, and we're going to just compare over time. So we were able to do that. So this is listeners, right? So this is actually, this it works, right? So we're going to be transparent. So we've done a few Instagram ads on just popular posts that just did well on Instagram, right? Just organically they did well. So before last year, it was all right, let me throw an ad on this one here. Maybe next month, this one bangs, I'll throw an ad on this one there, right? And again, that's all it did was just boost the likes. But then, this year we started focusing more on Instagram, and we had the perfect A/B test because we've had we've had two type of clips that with literally a white background. Those are older clips, and then newer updated clips that the background which is different. It has a gray background. It has all our socials on the bottom. It just looks nicer, right? So we're all right, perfect. What we're gonna do is test the newer clips versus the older clips. All right, we're gonna run one week. We're gonna run one type one week, run another type the next week, kind of just to see is it the background? Kind of trying to just test what does well and what doesn't. And after about a month of I think month 5 weeks or 4 to 5 weeks or so, we saw all the clips with the gray background just did significantly better. You know what I'm saying? So now we know, hey, all right, when we're going to be putting out ads, now we're going to make sure the clips that just look better, those are the ones who get more views, more likes, more shares, more engagement. Those are the ones that we're going to be sticking with. So if you guys are on Instagram and you see, or Facebook and you see our ads, right, those are the ones we're sticking with. Instead of the older clips, that necessarily didn't do as well. But then we also saw some other things, clips that had, better font and like emojis did better than the clips that, you know, maybe the person was talking about something even like more educational, but just because the aesthetic necessarily, you can see maybe the aesthetic wasn't even nice, it didn't get as many views, right?
It's the same. I'm sorry, I'm cutting in the middle of the conversation, but it's the same as what it sounds like. It's the same as flyering when we were part of NABA at Queens College. When you would always have I think it was a black and white or just a solid color flyer or whatever you were advertising for. It just doesn't catch people's eyes at all, you know. Someone like immediately you ignore it, you know. So sometimes for me, like my favorite colors tend to stand out. So if I see anything blue, I'll be more, you know, uh tempted to look. There we go, that's the word. But blue or pink or something like that. So when you're hanging up flyers that are yellow with gray font or just a solid color, you know, it's just, that's not something somebody's gonna want to look at. It has to be like in color. I don't know if this adds or anything, but that's what I'm getting from it.
Yeah, and it's a fact. It's just catching people's attention. Like the way I started going down your guys' videos is because of how the videos were set up. They were like, if you look at my Instagram, it's just videos of me talking. I don't have the borders and like, I don't have none of that. I should, and I'm gonna have it soon. But you don't need to do anything that stands out. Now the new thing is like, I don't know if you guys seen it lately. The video starts like this and then it goes to the side. It tells you to move your phone to the side.
When you do like an IGTV, kind of like, yeah.
Exactly. So that's what everyone's going to start doing as well. You know, Prince Donnell does it with jumping jack taxes, stuff like that. And just follow what the new people are doing, because if it works organically, it's going to work in the advertising world. Once again, it's just advertising is scaling.
Yeah.
You know, but also advertising is like the stock market. If you don't know what you're doing, you will lose money. It is not for everybody in the beginning. Always start with organic first. And then when you do eventually move on to paid advertising, don't just strictly stick to paid, because what I'm seeing is, I know this is going to contradict the entire podcast right now. Brand building is the way to go. More organic reach. It is why TikTok will dominate as long as they don't change their algorithm, because organic. You have a better, it's just branding. You're going to have those loyal listeners, and you don't need 1 million views. If you have 1,000 people every month that listen consistently, and let's just say they subscribe to you for $30 a month to be a part of a monthly webinar, that's $30,000 right there you can make. You know, I don't have a big following, but the 50 or 75 loyal people that do follow me, I earn a decent amount of pennies from them based off of the services that I offer that they find of value. So the numbers game, it's important, but you have to look at it as well as what type of service are you in? Do you need more volume? Are you high ticket? There are so many ways to, there's so many ways to skin this cat.
Yeah.
But on that note, honestly, that's a lot of gems. For this episode. So definitely I learned a lot. It's great to reinforce it, because like you said, Facebook ads, starting off ads in general on digital, can be frustrating, but like once you start having a plan and understanding like what to do, how to do it, it makes it so much better. So thank you again for the gems you gave me personally, to, you know, coming on to the podcast, talking about sharing your story, your personal story, talking about how people can scale and things like that, because this is the present and future at the same time. So this is real important for you guys to listen, especially if you're starting e-commerce, anything of that sort. So that's a big thank you. How can people find out if they want to reach out to you, reach out about your company? How can people get in contact with you?
Well, hopefully you guys will do the spelling when this drops, but just add me on Facebook. It's Khari Harper, and you're just going, I drop all of my gems there. I do my Facebook lives there, like everything, because I'm a firm believer of selling information. Of course, we have a coaching program, but I also believe that if I can give as much value away for free as possible, the universe in return will pay me back. I don't need to take the money from people, you know?
So appreciate that. So if you guys are listening to us, make sure if you made to the end of the video, make sure you smash that subscribe button, notifications, smash, click, whatever. Hit that subscribe button, notifications, and make sure you guys are up to date on anything that we are dropping. Again, we have some really fire content. We have our weekly episodes. We have our current event episodes that are coming out, and we're also doing movie reviews, which is new. So you guys definitely want to be plugged in. You guys want to make sure you're following us on Instagram, Everybody Eats Pod, Twitter, EBE Pod, YouTube, Everybody Eats Show. And that's what we have for you guys this week. So stay safe, stay healthy, and wash your hands.
Nasties.